Third District Court is now in session. The Honorable Brian Lee presiding.
Thank you. Go ahead and be seated. All right, so, you want the record out there?
Yes, we are.
So we're taking up again the matter of State of Idaho v. Stacey Wondra in CR 38251295. I did have a short conversation with counsel this morning. It sounds like it's going to be a pretty full day primarily with the playing of media. So, but we'll just go ahead and get started. Is the state ready to proceed?
We are, Your Honor.
All right, and the defense?
We are.
All right, Mr. Duke, I'll have you call your next witness.
The state calls JUANITA Kelleher.
Ms. Kelleher, if you'll come down between these tables here and raise your right hand to be sworn.
Do you solemnly swear and or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? I do.
All right, so we'll have a seat in our witness chair. Once you're seated there, so kind of pull the chair forward a little bit so you're a little closer to the mic. I appreciate that. And state your full name and spell your last, please.
JUANITA Kelleher, Kelleher.
All right, Mr. Duke, you can begin when you're ready, sir.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Kelleher, what do you do for a living?
I'm a detective for the City of Fruitland Police Department.
Okay, and how long have you been a detective for the Fruitland Police Department?
Approximately 10 years.
Okay, and what are your duties as a detective?
Investigate crimes.
And in July of, well, do you have any post certificates or trainings?
I am a certified police officer through the state of Idaho. I hold Reserve Post Certificate, Reserve 1 Post Certificate,
Judge, if I
basic
may,
and intermediate.
We would stipulate to her qualifications if that saves some time.
All right, great. Thank you.
In July of 2021, did you embark on an investigation of a missing child?
Yes, I was involved in that investigation.
Okay, and who was the missing child?
Michael Joseph Vaughan.
Okay, and what day did you become involved in the investigation?
July 27th.
Okay, and was that the first day that he went missing?
Yes, it is.
Okay, and where did your investigation start?
I was called approximately 9:30 that night and requested to come back to the police department and assist with staying with the family because we had a missing child. I arrived around 10:20 p.m.
Okay, and were there any concerns initially that he could have walked off or just be missing in like the fields that are near the home or anything like this?
Definitely.
Okay, and did you guys, I guess, what efforts were made to try to locate Michael on the like walk-off theory?
We had professional search groups, we had volunteers, we had helicopters, we had dogs, we had, you name it, if we could get it, we brought them in to help us. Dogs, you name it.
Okay, and did you guys search the fields and the canals around the property or around where Michael lives?
Yes, we did.
Okay, and did you investigate over, was it maybe to the west down 8th Street? Did you investigate over in that area?
Yes, we did.
Okay, and did you find any sign of Michael in any investigation of the landscape or the geography around where he lived?
No.
Okay, at what point did the investigation turn towards looking for a bad actor?
After we had so many search crews out on foot and everything, we had professional search crews looking for footprints along the roadway to see if maybe he entered a field somewhere. That was never seen. We had dogs. Michael also had a pair of new flip-flops that he wasn't quite used to wearing and that would fall off his feet. That was reported by witnesses who saw him on 9th Street. So he wasn't very good with walking with those shoes. So the likelihood of him walking through a field, especially they were irrigated fields, he would most definitely lose a shoe or something like that. Also, we have video off of 8th Street of everybody coming and going in the neighborhood. That is the main entrance and exit to those subdivisions. He is not seen in those areas. There was approximately 220 cars that passed within the time frame we were looking at. That's roughly a car every 40 seconds. We interviewed all the people that were in those vehicles. Nobody witnessed seeing Michael at that time. We interviewed the occupants of residences within the surrounding neighborhoods, approximately 300 homes, and we did not find him.
Okay, and so, do you know how many suspects or persons of interest there were during the course of this investigation?
Numerous.
Okay, and as you were going through them, was there one group or individual that stood out to you?
Yes.
Okay, and who are those people or individual?
The residence was at 1102 Red Wing Street in Fayette County, Fruitland, Idaho. It belonged to Sarah and Stacey Wondra, who also had 2 other people living with them at the time, Brandon Shirtliff and Adrien Lucienne.
Okay, and is that address in Idaho State?
Yes, it is.
Okay, and Mr. Wondra, Stacey Wondra, is he in the courtroom today?
He is.
Okay, and can you identify him for us?
He is sitting at the defense table, blue shirt and darker blue tie.
And so what drew your attention to that household?
I've reviewed hours and hours and hours of video footage from that time. I was watching for when Kira came home from school. She walked home from school that day, and she passed through the splash park. So that was an area that I was focused on. I noticed a white car, a Lexus, pull into the splash pad. He pulled up and kind of straddled 2 different spots. The driver got out, heavy-set man, walked around the vehicle, reached over and tested the door handle on the passenger side. I could see his head is up and he's kind of looking around. He walked around the back of the vehicle, and as he went to get in, he waved to somebody that was at the park. There were children at the park at that time. I found that odd that somebody that wasn't using the facilities, using the bathroom, seemed to be doing anything other than checking a door handle was at the park during the time directly before a child went missing. I reviewed the neighborhood canvas after I was able.
Before we get there, so were you able to identify that individual?
Yes, I was.
And who was that individual?
It was a white Lexus which belonged to Stacey Wondra, and from the video photos and YouTube photos, I was easily able to see it was the same person as
Okay.
Stacey Wondra.
And did you ever talk to Stacey Wondra about that?
I did.
Okay, and did he confirm that that was him?
Yes.
Okay, and so, okay, so you see this video, what was the next piece of evidence that drew your attention to the Wondra house?
So I pulled the neighborhood canvas form that was done on August 1st by Boise police detectives. And in that report, it stated that they weren't home that day, that they had gone and then towed a vehicle to Kuna, Idaho, which, as I said, I've watched hours and hours of the video footage. No vehicle was being towed out of the area at that time. I found that inconsistent with the evidence. And so that's what initially drew us to the Wondras.
Okay, and did you, was there any evidence that made you believe that they were in the area at that time?
From the video surveillance, I saw that the white Lexus did leave, and then it returned right, what time was that? I don't want to give a specific time, but it was before the time that Michael went missing, right around 5. And then we saw a vehicle that belonged to the residence leaving at 7:08. And so that would put them in the area at the time. And so that was why we questioned that.
Okay, and what was the vehicle that you saw leaving at 7:08?
Maroon GMC pickup.
Okay. And then kind of fast forwarding to later on in the investigation, did you have the opportunity to have an interview with Stacey Wondra?
Yes.
Okay, and where did that interview take place?
We did interviews with Stacey Wondra at Washington County Jail. He was incarcerated for unrelated charges.
Okay. And did you record those interviews?
All those interviews are recorded.
Okay. Here, this is gonna be a little bit clunky at first, but I'm gonna pull up just one. And I apologize, I'm gonna sit down to run the technology here. Okay, and it, directing your attention behind you, do you recognize this video?
Yes, and the person in the video you see is Chris McDonough.
Okay, and is this when you went to interview Stacy at the jail?
Yes, at the Washington County Jail in Weezer, Idaho.
Okay, and what prompted that interview?
Stacey Wondra contacted jail staff and requested to speak with detectives about the Michael Vaughan case.
Okay, when you start the interview, does he indicate what it is he wants out of the interview?
He indicated that he wanted the same deal as Sarah did to provide information about Michael Vaughan.
And apologize again, it's gonna be a little bit clunky, you're gonna have to look behind you. All right, so what I've got here is pre-marked as Stacy's Exhibit 12. Are you familiar with these file names? Do those look familiar?
Yes, they do.
Okay, and are the actual file names timestamps of when the videos were taken?
Yes, they are.
Okay, and so taking the top one that's currently highlighted, where it says 2022 underscore 1110 underscore 203348 underscore 004.
Can I pause this for just 1 second? So would it be possible, I mean, I'm watching the Detective Craner neck. Would it be possible to use this other monitor to broadcast this?
No.
I'm okay. I know these videos very well.
Okay, all right, go ahead.
Well, just for the benefit of the court, this is something we worked out ahead of time.
Okay.
We have not been able to successfully use this other monitor to keep resolution and fidelity, and so.
All right, no worries.
Okay.
Go ahead then, I'm just trying to, practically, I perceive a challenge, so
We should get past this shortly. Okay, so these series, and then they go numerically, the last numbers there in this folder, they progress from 4 all the way down. What you can see there is 20. Are these the files that you recorded during those interviews?
Yes, they are.
Okay, and are those a true and accurate reflection of what occurred during the interview?
Yes, it is.
Okay, this time I'm going to move to admit State's Exhibit 12, which is the confession that occurred on the 10th, or the conversation that occurred on the 10th of November, 2022.
Any objection from this defense?
No objection.
All right, State's 12 will be admitted.
Okay.
And just for identification purposes, it's an interview with law enforcement and Mr. Wondra on or about the 10th of November of 2021?
That is correct, Your Honor. And the
2022.
Oh, sorry, 2022.
Okay.
And the physical form of the exhibit is a flash drive. We can mark the outside of it when we're done here, but contained in this flash drive are going to be 3 exhibits. And so, depending on what gets admitted and where we end up, we can delete anything that's superfluous out of there. But
You provided a copy of the flash drive or whatever to the defense? Or?
We've shown them a copy of it.
Okay. They have a copy?
We do not have a copy of it.
They don't have their own copy, but we showed them the contents of the flash drive prior to today's hearing.
I believe we have reviewed all the video. It has been provided to us. It just hasn't been provided to us in a flash drive form.
Do you want it in that format? I mean, is that helpful for the defense? I mean, it doesn't matter to me. If you have the most important thing is you have the information, but.
Judge, we have the information. We've been able to review it. I have no concerns at this time.
Okay, good. And one other kind of detail. I appreciate it when council stands to speak. I think it's useful, but if, for practical reasons, it's easier to sit down and run technology or whatever else. I don't have any objection. I don't perceive it as an act of disrespect if you don't stand up every time you speak. So.
Yeah. I apologize, Your Honor. Just because I'm running the computer is why I was.
Yeah, well, I just don't want you to worry about it. Right?
Okay.
Handle it how you do.
All right, so, Ms. Kelleher, or Detective Kelleher, so you went over there on the 10th of November. Do you remember when that interview concluded, that first one?
When it ended,
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember.
Was it past midnight?
The timestamps will be on the video.
Okay. And did you go back and interview Mr. Wondra a second time?
Yes, I did.
Okay, and do you recall the date that occurred?
I believe it was the 12th,
Okay, would that be the,
the next day, well, later on that, yeah.
and then, here, I'm gonna queue up one of those videos, give me just a moment. Hold on, I'll get it. All right, and so I'm gonna draw your attention to this, the video that's up there. Oh, you've got a binder in the way. Just a moment. Okay, and do you recall, are you familiar with this video?
Yes, I am.
Okay, and is this, what is shown in this video?
We were using the in-talks room, that is where Stacy asked to meet. I moved to the back of the room to sit, far back as I can. That way, Stacy doesn't feel like I'm blocking the door or anything like that. And we were just getting settled in to speak with him after he requested to talk to us.
And is this the second day, the next day of the interview?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
This is, we did one on the 5th, and this is the one after.
Well, so this would be
The 11th.
11th?
Yes.
And so the first interview took place on the 10th, correct?
The 5th,
Okay, the second interview took place on the 10th?
yes,
And then, so this would be the third interview?
yes.
Okay. And is this a true and accurate, have you reviewed these videos?
Yes, I have.
Okay, and is this a true and accurate representation of what occurred during that interview?
Yes, it is.
Okay. All right, and shown on the screen are a series of files similar to before. The top highlighted one is 2022 _1111 _140912 _001, that entry 4. Is that the way that these videos are saved when you record them?
Yes, they are.
Okay, and it goes all the way down to _017. So does this contain that interview that took place on the 11th?
Yes, it does.
Okay. At this time, the state will move to admit Exhibit 13.
Any objection?
No objection.
13 will be admitted.
Okay, and after you had the interview, that second interview with Mr. Wondra, did you record, or did you review any phone calls or FaceTime type calls that he made while he was in the jail?
Yes, I did.
Okay, and what I have up here is what's been marked as State's Exhibit 14. Are you familiar with this video?
Yes, I am.
Okay, and who are the parties in this video?
This would be Stacey Wondra and his adopted mom, Cameron Johnson.
Okay, and when does this call take place?
This was after our interview, and then the timestamp's on the video.
Okay, and,
It's on the 11th.
okay, and where, how did you access this video?
Through the jail phone call records or through Telmate, they give detectives access to review phone calls. And this is something that we normally do as detectives. This is one of the videos from Telmate.
Okay, so did you download this directly from that?
From Telmate, yes.
Okay. And have you listened to this entire phone call?
Yes, I have.
And is the content of this phone call consistent with interviews that you had with Stacey Wondra?
Yes, they are.
Okay. At this time, I move to admit Stacey Exhibit 14.
No objection.
14 will be admitted.
All right, and then, Your Honor, we're gonna ask for permission to publish, I just want to put on the record, there was a conference that we had where it was discussed that there was a desire to play the entire videos so that we wouldn't have to chop them up for either party's presentations. And so, per that discussion that we had, we're going to move to publish the entirety of these videos, which is a series of files that have all been admitted as exhibits.
Any objection?
No.
All right, so, well, okay, yeah, so go ahead, you'll publish them as you wish, no objection to the publishing, so I'll just let you kind of manage what to publish first and when and all that.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor. And then as a practical matter, can we have the detective sit in the jury area, or jury box area?
Yes.
And then if we need to comment on anything that's going on, then we can ask her to come back. But for the most part, I think there's going to be several hours of viewing these exhibits.
I think that's good. Maybe what we could do is move that mic that's for the media closer to the prosecutor's table, and then move this mic that's on the lectern to the top of the bar right there, and that way she can be picked up for questions.
Yeah, that works for the state.
Yeah, go ahead. Let's. Yes, so the court reporter is asking if it's acceptable that she not transcribe the contents of the video.
That's acceptable to the state.
Defense agrees with
Or
that.
maybe transcribe's not the right word, record the content of the video.
That's
All right. And that's stipulated by both state and.
Yes.
Yes, Your Honor. Okay. I think it would. Mr. Boynton, can you, one of those light switches operates, these lights are over me. It might make it easier for everyone. Yes, thank you.
Okay, so as we publish these, we're just going to start with the earliest in time and work our way through, just so the record reflects it. It's going to start with the file that has the 11/10 date stamp and is _004, and the concluding video will be the one that ends in 2022 _1111, and the final numbers are _007.
My back, so partial dead.
This is exhibit 1.
You have lost a lot of weight.
Exhibit 13, I'm
Look
sorry.
at you. You look.
My apologies, Your Honor. This is exhibit 12.
12, okay, thank you.
Okay, if that comes up, we shut down, okay?
No, that's fine.
All right? And then again, I gotta read you your rights. All right, Stacy? Okay? Before we ask you any questions, you must understand your rights. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you in court of law. You have the right to talk with a lawyer or advice to the court when we ask you any question. And to have them with you during the question. If you cannot afford a lawyer, one will be appointed for you before any question. If you decide to answer questions now without a lawyer present, you will still have the right to stop answering at any time when you talk to a lawyer. You understand? And I know I've asked you this before. You read and understand it. English, right?
Since we didn't quite write Spanish yet, so.
I just put a bill at the end of everything, like,
No.
yeah, like, telefonio, you know, papero.
Noche verde, yo.
Yep, see, it sounds Spanish, right? Something. Okay, before we start, what is this thing? Because that looks horrible.
That used to be that's the puke urine.
Yeah.
This used to be the trouble.
Yeah, no, this used to be the end house when I worked here.
1 year ago.
And it has a flush system. It just throws it all down in there.
Well, I guess that's one way to clean
Flush
it out. So what's going on tonight? I heard you want to speak with us.
Well, talked to my mom, you know, I guess she's like this light at the end of the tunnel, I guess. She seems to be the bearer of information, which is okay. My mom mentioned that you guys have brought up, you were brought up, flea bargain or whatever, the same thing, that's, you guys are offering Sarah over there in exchange for help to find Michael. Like, I don't, like, in the sense of helping to find Michael, I don't have the issue with going out and trying to help locate and search, and, you know, like on that aspect, but, I mean, I guess I kind of want to know, you know, I know you guys told my mom, you know, like, you know, at what time, like, in what aspects, you know, like, I don't, you know, like I gave you guys pretty, you know, a pretty substantial amount of, you know, what I thought was decent info the last time, you know, you guys talked. You know, it's like, I don't, at this point, I don't really have any more to give other than I just want to know if, like, when you tell my mom that you're willing to, you know, offer me some clear exchange for my uncle, physically going out to try to look for him, helping with the search or whatever it may be, you know, or is it just, you know, feeding you guys information? Because I've given you guys what I know, you know, like, I already know what I thought was valuable information. But I don't have a problem at all with wanting to help with the search, because I want to be able to have this little bit of copy. It's not fair to set up his mother and his family, you know.
So, I don't think that, sometimes it takes a little time for us to go over stories and stuff, especially things that happened to us, and remember everything that's happened. And I don't think you've told us everything yet. And so I think there's probably still some more information that you could help us with. And it would depend on what information you had as far as needing like that.
Again, you know, I gave you guys what I had. Like I told you guys last time, again, have a problem with going and trying to help find this little boy. But as far as knowledge of his whereabouts or, you know, where, you know, I've given you guys where he could be. I've talked about, you know, what I've seen with the duffel bag. That's literally like what I have. I want to have more so I can help find this little boy. But that's why I'm literally like, I want to do this eye test because I really think you guys, you know, I get, as you said, well, what if you fail? Are you still, you know, I'm not going to fail. That's what it's at. I know for a fact, and you know, however you guys want to see it, that's, you know, you guys are detectives, you guys do your thing or whatever, like, you know, I'm just the person who's trying to help find this little boy in any which way I can, just like I was doing on the house. I mean, I don't think you guys understand, I don't have what you're looking for. And I think once we do the eye test, you guys are gonna be like, well, he really wasn't, he wasn't lying. Like, and that's my point I'm trying to make is like, I get you guys have your, you know, your due diligence and your job to do or whatnot, but I'm also telling you as someone, you know, I've given you guys what I can, but I also know that there's a certain point beyond and above the, you know, you get stuck at a point where you don't have anything else to relay. And when I'm telling you I don't have anything else to relay, I don't have anything else to relay. It's not that I don't want to give it to you. It's not that I don't want to cooperate. I mean, I wouldn't pull you guys down here. I wouldn't, you know, give you guys information, you know, of what I've recollected if I didn't want to cooperate, if I didn't want this little boy to be found. Just trust me, I want him to be found. Like, I have many nieces and nephews. I've got friends that have got little boys, you know, little kids, and it's like, to be labeled as that one person, which is what I'm being labeled as. I mean, I'm sure as anybody else, you know, it gives yourself a bad name, and that's why I want to go through and do with this whole eye test thing. I want to see what you guys are trying to offer, because I feel like once I complete the eye test and you guys see that he really hasn't lied to us. I mean, I really feel like with all the stuff that I've had to go through, like I still should be like negotiated or given a deal to, because of the information I have related to you guys. Even though it's not, you guys think it's not everything I know, like what I've given you is what I've given you. But I still feel like being put, you know, in this position when you're gonna find out that I'm not lying. That's where this is at. Like, I would never, there's 4 things you don't fuck with in my life. My friends, my family, my friends as kids, money, or food. Food being the 4th one. I wouldn't put that second, but, you know, I literally am a very, very, very firm believer in those things. And to mess with somebody else's life like that, with like what's happened, is completely beyond anything on. I mean, it's real that it's happened, but it's unreal to me that I'm having to sit here and face, you know, yeah, you guys have, you know, what about your investigation, your forensic stuff, or whatever it is. But as somebody who was not and hasn't been a part of that particular situation, I don't know, like, I want to help you guys as much as I can, but I don't have anything else to fork up. just know that you guys told my mom, you know, if he's willing to help, you know, within the search or whatever. So I asked my mom, well, what are the parameters? And she goes, you're gonna have to talk to them. So I was like, okay. And that's why I called you guys, because it's like, I mean, even after this whole testing thing, like that I wanted to do with you guys, and if it comes back like I'm telling you the truth, and I haven't lied, then I still want to work a negotiation or something out with you for having to go through what I've had to go through in this long of a process. It doesn't, you know, and I talked to Sarah a couple days ago. I don't know if she told you, but you know, I asked, you know, I told her, I said, why, you know, why is all this, what's all this stuff going on with, you know, oh God, you know, and this whole, you know, you're acting. I mean, I was appalled when she was like, well, I'm literally here talking on the phone to you with fire in my eyes, and I literally died a couple days ago, and God put me back to be a prophet, to prophesy something. What are we, the shroud for this? Sorry, it's a book I read. By David Baldacci. But it's just like, you know, and then she goes, well, I'm not talking to the detectives about she goes, I'm not turning on you like they're saying that they're going to. I don't believe her. I don't, you know, great if she isn't. She can turn on me all she wants. I had nothing. She knows damn well I had nothing to do with any of this. And so I didn't let her, you know, she's gonna do what she's gonna do. I don't know if she already gave her speaking to or whatnot, but honestly, like, I don't really care. You know, I don't trust her as far as I can throw her. And that's never interesting. You know, after the shit that I've heard from you guys and what she's done behind my back, I mean, not meaning, or mind you, you know, some of the stuff that I've done behind her back, you know, wasn't exactly faithful, but if you had to be in the predicament, some of the situations that I've been in with her, and being held at gunpoint, you know, being held at, you know, with a butcher knife you through, I mean, you wouldn't exactly probably be the happiest in, you know, your relationship. I mean, I can't speak for one another, but, you know, it's hard to, I mean, to just wrap my mind around, you know, the fact that she knows something. And just mind-boggling. You know, I'm the type of person that if I knew something, even at the start of all this shit, that's not something I would ever keep a secret. Taking a little boy or taking a kid from this family, I would kill somebody allegedly if somebody did that to my family. And it's just, that's what I'm saying. I want to help you guys, but I don't have any new information. I just know that my mom told me, you know, you guys had some sort of plea deal that you guys proposed to Sarah. And I mean, I'd like to propose the same thing, granted I get the same thing, granted this test comes back the way I know it's going to.
So, with Sarah and with you, the only way that I'm gonna make a deal is if I can find my phone. That's the only thing. And I'm not asking you to go search. I want you to tell me where he's at. And that's the only deal I want to do. It seems like in the beginning of this investigation, there was a little bit of apprehension about telling us what was going on. You know, right after Michael's disappearance, the agents that went over and spoke with you guys, the officers, we really didn't get a very good idea of what was going on at that time. And so those were some of the things that have bothered me, and hoping that maybe if you do want to help me, that you would be 100% truthful with me about everything, no matter what it is. And so,
In aspect of what was going on at the time he disappeared. Like, I'll tell you, I'm not gonna I'm not gonna go into the whole specific dates thing because obviously I suck. Not by intention, but like that. Clearly, it hasn't been accurate. So I'm not even gonna go into dates, but at that time, Sarah and I, the whole conceived the whole child thing, wanted a child. Sarah and I utilized multiple people, or multiple, like, with me, it was just Brandon, Jesse. After figured out that it wasn't working with Jesse, and then Brandon came to the picture.
Was this specifically for a child, or did you guys just have like an open relationship where you
It
were
was-
doing sex?
What I wanted was specifically for a child.
And what did Sarah want?
She made it seem like she wanted just a different child too. But after hearing the whole stories of, oral sex with Adrien and sexual relations, I guess, with other people that I didn't even know she had sexual relations with, that makes me believe otherwise. I mean, yeah, Sarah and I have had quite a few unfaithful moments. A lot of the unfaithful moments evolved around our relationship. We aren't, and we weren't happy. And I stayed in it because I thought things could get better. And it just, as my mom told you, she's my mom. I've been through it in and out of group homes and, different places. And we don't mind like my mom told you this, she goes, I've told him, time and time again, I've advised him, you should not, you shouldn't be hanging out with people, you shouldn't be helping these people out,
Well, what else was going on at that time?
As far as,
The whole situation with you guys, what was going on in that household?
there was a lot of tension. I mean, there was just with Sarah and I, and then, we started helping out. It was realistically, what was weird about it is we didn't start helping people out until after this little boy disappeared, which would make sense in a sense of Sarah trying to get out of her feelings, or Sarah trying to cover up. Again, like the whole aspect of her, and sorry, the conversation we had last week, it wouldn't surprise me, again, like I said, knowing, I guess not so much knowing, but like with her going on this rampage about God, and none of this stuff started happening until after this little boy went missing. Like I had never seen her go into this whole realm of, now's the time to come forward and confess your sins to God.
Well, what else was happening in the house at that time?
I don't know what you're referring to.
Well, was that it?
I mean, there was a lot of, aside from doing like side gigs and stuff like that, we did a lot of taxi rides for people. There was a lot of transporting people back and forth, where they need to go, and I guess specifically, a lady who worked in Hotel 6 and once there in Robin,
Adrien came in, about how long until when Michael went missing?
I'd say when Adrien came, it was probably, Adrien was with us for about a month and a half. I would say. It was probably not even 2 or 3 weeks to give a time frame when we went missing.
Do you remember the incident with a pizza person trying to, okay.
Okay, so, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. So Sarah, and it was just Sarah and me, I think, at the house at that time, I think, don't quote me on that, but, Sarah had ordered pizza from Pizza Hut. And, a couple days prior, we had heard somebody try to open up our door. And, but we always keep the deadbolt locked. And, she had ordered a pizza for us and some breadsticks and whatever, so. And, the guy came to deliver the pizza, and, she asked me, she goes, did it just sound like somebody tried to open the door? And I go, yeah, it sounded like it. But again, you know, when you open the screen door with the handle, you grab it and let it go really quick with the spring. And that's what it kind of sounded like the door, so I was like, yeah, it kind of sounded like it. So she got up in this guy's face, was like, don't ever fucking try to come in our house again, bro, or you can get shot, or whatever. Yeah. And, I even told Sarah, I said, what are you doing? I said, he's just a delivery driver. I said, even though, I even told her, I said, even though it sounded like he was trying to break in or whatever, I said, you don't sit there and you don't threaten somebody like that. I said, it's their job. And so we were actually on the do not deliver list for quite a while before our arrest because of that.
So was Adrien living there at that time?
I'm trying to remember. It was around that same time frame.
What's making you think that?
Just with all the behavior and how everybody was acting around the house. It seems like it would be around the same time frame as anyone was.
So the day of the event, it looks like we saw you at the splash pad and all that. Is there anything that you haven't told us about that day?
Not that I can recall. Like I said, I remember specifically stopping at the splash pad, which out of all places, I don't know why, I just thought there was more in this parking spot. I didn't think it was about it. Like I said, I probably go over to catch you, and that's why I went there.
Where was Sarah at that time?
I think she was at home.
Do you remember what was going on that day or what you guys had planned that day?
No, we didn't talk about, we briefly discussed it, I think in the morning, but we didn't really make affirmative plans to go help move Brandy's car until later on in the evening.
So when you came back from the taxi ride, when you came back from the neighborhood, can you start by telling me everything that happened when you got there?
Like after
As you're pulling it.
There was just, the normal activity, people, were walking here, going to watch the river. Pulled in, I remember seeing, there's an old guy that has 2 dogs that goes walks around right now. I remember waving to him and, I believe I had taken the route to go, take a ride out, I think it's into the park. Oh, but I'm actually Redwood.
Okay. So you just went down the road. Okay. You went in front of like Kate's house or the
Yeah,
other
no,
side?
other way.
Other way, okay.
Yeah, but I just went straight and said, take a left.
Okay, So when you got home, then what?
It was just, I was hungry, I was gonna go for food, and I got offered some shrimp from Adrien. And then after we got a couple of dishes in the sink or whatever, remember Adrien had already gone to his room. Gone to his room. And we had, Brandon and I and Sarah had discussed what we were going to do, and Brandon said he really wanted to go to his car. So we decided we would do that.
That night, did you see Michael at the house?
I didn't see any unusual faces, other than the normal faces over there.
Did you see anything that would now make you believe that there's a possibility it might be at the house?
I didn't see, but I'm sure the tricycle issue I sent up in the garage, because I had never seen it.
Explain more.
I just said, you guys said that there was a tricycle sitting on some humble stuff on top of some boxes. And I've never seen a tricycle in our garage. Of course, why would I do for something like that? You know, so it just didn't make any sense to me to say that there was a tricycle in the garage. So I never thought to look. My routine is you go to, I always come in through the garage and walk through the laundry room, go through the laundry room entrance, into the house, and shut the door. It was a two-part system. Cat, so there's one pile of laundry up first, close the laundry door to the garage, and then laundry door. So that was
So there's a gap between the time you got home and the time you guys left that night. And so, it looked like you got home around 5 and you left at 7. You left at 7. So that's 2 hours. So in amongst those 2 hours, you ate. I would assume it probably don't take you very long to eat. Don't take me very long, 10 minutes maybe. And you guys had a discussion about the car. But there's a lot that's going on in that time frame that you're not talking about. I'm just talking, there's 2 hours there, and so there's a lot of things that could happen in 2 hours. So there's gotta be some type of movement in the house, or somebody doing something, or conversations happening.
I think Adrien and Sarah were trying to work on ways to make some money, the whole Snapchat. And I think they were working on that a little bit that night. But as far as any other conversation, it was just, I don't recall having any specific conversations.
Where were they at when they were working on that?
But they're all pretty touched.
Okay. And what were some of the things that they were saying?
Just Adrien was asking her to, if she would be willing to help him, create a profile and try to scheme money from people. And that he would split the money. He would give her a percentage of what he made.
And what? Was the game of that? What were they doing?
He wasn't like that.
What were they doing on the iPad? How?
They downloaded Snapchat. They had downloaded a picture from the internet or something like that for a fake profile. It was a girl. I don't remember who it was on that. I should take a picture. I know that it was a picture of a girl that they downloaded. It was weird.
And what were they doing? Were they, you know, with that photo on the Snapchat?
Well, they were just offering, or asking sexual favors, offering sexual favors.
Like what?
Like, WODRA'S, says, like, offering people prices, I don't, that they teach more prices, and you know, we don't really offer prostitution like that, or whatever you would call it, you know. We don't offer prices.
Were they offering locations to meet at for this, or how far in
I
depth
don't
did they
think
really
they
get?
went to the location wise, it was after, I think it came to after they sent the money, then they were gonna get the location.
And how much money did they get?
I think they only, to my knowledge, they only made $50. And that was only one time I ever remember hearing about it. But there could have been other times where they made more money, I just didn't know about it. And then Sarah wasn't exactly the most, she wasn't a hot shot, honest.
What was Brandon doing for this?
I know he was in the house.
Where were you at?
I think I was either in the bedroom or I was in the room. But I know that I was home.
You don't remember what you're doing?
My activity when I got home, 90% of the time was sit on the couch, either eat, drink, consume food, or fall asleep on the couch. Falling asleep on the couch was one of the biggest things that I always wanted to do. Rather fall asleep sitting up, you know, and that's something that's been a certain year when I got sleep back, when I got up to bed.
Did anybody leave the house?
Not, if I, maybe somebody did, but I don't, I was asleep. Sleep or in the house, I haven't gone out. So I've been a lot, but it was only out 2 times that day. It was from the splash pad event and, the taxi bread event. We got back home, but it's,
Think about it really hard, if anybody left in that time.
maybe Sarah would take Adrien and Brandon out to go do something. I don't know what that was. They didn't go be in the hospital,
And walk me through what was going on when they got up to leave.
no specifics. I just know it was, I think Adrien had asked Sarah if he could either via text or a loan or whatever, you know, if he could take her, or she could take him somewhere, but other than that, I mean, Sarah's said things in the past before, like, I'm gonna go take this person to go do something real quick, I'll be back short. But I would ask her, things like, well, what do you do? If she would tell. So,
Well, keep going, tell me a little bit more about what's going on at that time.
just not, I mean, I never was given the specific where they were going, exactly, I'm gonna go take care of something with Adrien real quick, and then we'll go back short. And that was, I think that option, I was like, maybe a half hour. Work, but I don't have time.
What did you do during the time that they were gone?
Pretty sure I probably stayed home and slept. Took a nap or something. I always, when I get bored with this though, I always end up trying to catch. Just kills time. As you can tell, when you met me the very first time, I wasn't a very energetic person. I was not a very small person.
You lost a lot of weight.
Tried, still trying.
So how did you know that Sarah came back?
The door slammed.
The door slammed, what door?
The wind from the air that the washroom door catches, so when you open the garage door, after that door shut, here it goes. But it's not like it's slammed, it's slammed. It's like a, when the breeze hits the door.
Okay.
But
And what did you see when you heard that?
just Sarah and you, Adrien and Brad.
Okay. Who was first?
I think Adrien came in first. And Sarah was the middle, and then Brad came in last. We always like to take time to get smoked.
And what did they do when they came in?
Just, Adrien went to his room, and then we all decided where we're gonna go get the car. We're gonna get Brad's car.
Tell me about that conversation.
Just Brandon approached us earlier that day and brought it up. So I wanted to go to this car a little bit later, and so, okay. After not long things calmed down, Brandon brought it up. Told us that we would tell him to go to his vehicle, to his vehicle.
What do you mean that when you guys got home and things calmed down?
No, just like, settle down.
Oh,
Not
just kind of relaxed?
Not like public words, not arguments or fighting. We just know it out.
So when they left, do you know if they actually left the property or if they were outside or if they were in a vehicle, if they walked somewhere? No. And you were shown the.
She had her purse and had her keys, but she had her keys over there when she goes.
Keys for which vehicle?
She had she always has her car key, I think she had the truck key at the time. Because I had the car key.
Okay. And you said that she had her purse. What did her purse look like? And where did she grab it from?
She was at the first usually in the room and
And how do you know she had her purse?
she can't move it.
Oh, okay. So you saw her purse on her when she came in. And what were they saying when they came in? What was it about?
It was just very vague. There wasn't kind of like a conversation disappeared.
What were they acting like?
Emotional. Suspicious ones, like something, I don't know, just something wasn't on. I mean, something was very off with them. I didn't really feel like having an argument.
Something was off with you.
Sorry.
Sarah, was there something off with anybody else?
Adrien and I didn't really ever talk, just because I didn't like it. I was kind of put in the position when you really help these people, it's kind of like, well, I'm here as well. So I didn't really get much opportunity to have like a full hard conversation. It was just hard.
Okay.
But Adrien, Brandon didn't really say much. He always calls me fluffy fat. He doesn't fluff like that. And that's, my response is really nothing. I don't know what he was doing. But I didn't know what detail. I try asking, but it's all.
What were they wearing? What were their clothes?
I know Sarah was, her most comfortable outfit was usually the t-shirt, the tights, the leggings. She was, that was her favorite thing to wear is leggings, so as soon as she wore her leggings.
But nothing stood out to you that day?
No, nothing unusual.
What time did they come in?
About 5, 6:30.
And how long until you guys left to go get the car?
About 7.
Yeah, I know what the times are, but in your memory, when you saw them come in, about how long until you guys left? And during that time, what were they doing after they came in?
Just, Adrien said he thought they're going to do this thing or whatever, and they go out and get their spot. It wasn't really a thing, it was kind of, pretty set forward.
Okay.
I told them they vehicles before, so like he was rocket science.
Okay. So what about the duffel bag?
I told you it was, right in there. He usually opens up the opposite side, he's not sitting on, so he ends up sitting on the driver's passenger side. Back seat, and opening up the passenger side door, back seat, and put his backpack and coat, the sweater or whatever he had, but as far as the duffel bag, I couldn't really see which direction, I was assuming that the passenger side, on the driver's side, passenger side.
When the duffel bag was in the house, tell me about that.
It's just still in the corner where it goes. There was nothing unusual about it.
Okay. And when did he go and grab it, and what did he do with it?
We gone out, we left that house waiting for him, came out and meet us. And I was already in the truck, and Sarah got inside the truck. And we were just waiting for him, but, it was unusual about doing something that was Harry's.
Was the bag full? The duffel bag? What did it look like? Like,
Just like packed, like, if you took a travel bag for going on a trip out of state or whatever, and take a flight, honestly, it just looked like packed like normal clothes. It looked like a weird, there was no weird shape or anything.
okay.
That's clothes.
And when you guys got in the truck, did anybody talk about anything?
What's that?
When you guys got in the truck, did anybody talk about anything?
There wasn't really much to discuss. I mean, I always throw on music. I always usually DJ when it comes to filming there, vehicles, I always throw music on.
Okay.
I would always sing together or you take a video and put the dashboard and whatnot.
Anything different about this trip than any other trip?
They weren't talkative. I mean, I don't know if it was that day or, I mean, they were just, when it's talkative, they usually were.
And then what happened when you guys left?
Usually left the house and go to the, our home. Besides the street or whatever. I knew that I had an art steering, so I put art steering. But there, I don't know what was going on inside the truck. I just know that I got out and put art steering in the got back in the truck. And there was not a lot of activity going on, nothing that
When you got back in, any other comments or anything that was said? Anything that you thought was strange? Okay. And then what happened on the trip?
Went to Cuba, and listened to musical, so I went to Cuba. Brandon got his bags off the vehicle, and, walked. Doesn't like him. His mom doesn't like him in the house when I was home. So I remember he gone to the side gate with the mom, my right side of the garage. I guess there was a door over or something, but, he came back out with, the same stuff, but I almost thought he was just doing a clothing swap or something, because his clothes are dirty, but. Nothing was really off, I put his back in the vehicle, it was on the same side that he pulled it out from, just the driver's side.
And on the trip, it seems like there's different versions of everything that happened. So what happened on the trip?
Stopped him, I think the guy asked at the showroom. Before he started driving.
I mean, after you took the car and you were headed back.
Oh, yeah, no, we went to the car and we were heading back, we went all the way to State Street or whatever. Ended up snapping, they were staring at them, snapping the toe strap. So we had to do a U-turn, pull back around in front of them. And, just ended up double knot toe strap. Where it snapped off. And, I got back in and Sarah said that she would be, and it was probably going to be a long run to just be. And so she got out and we opened both the passenger side door and the rear passenger side door, so she could go in the bathroom, so she got some rest. And she would be able to drill off the piece of stuff behind her.
And so Sarah was driving? Okay. Does Sarah drive and use the phone at the same time? Who is she calling?
I think she had called AAA, she was trying to call AAA. But I know that was one of the phone calls that she didn't make, I don't know if she made it. Well, I was fixing the toast now. But from the time that I was in the vehicle, when she had to get out to utilize the bathroom, she didn't make any calls.
You make any calls call?
Not what she could.
How about after that?
I don't recall after she made a phone call, but I don't recall exactly who it was to. So if you guys want specifics, like who she talked to, and like, I don't have that word. I mean, you're getting literally the best information off the top of your head. So I'm sorry you're not getting what you want. I know this, it seems like a waste of time. It's really like, I'm gonna keep calling you guys because I want to try to help you for the best way I can.
Well, it sounds like to me that you're insinuating that if the house is involved, that Sarah, Brandon, and Lucienne, Adrien, could have took Michael when they left, put him in the duffel bag, and taken him to CUNA. Is that what you're trying to?
That's, yeah.
I know it kind of seems like I'm dense and it's going over, but
No,
I'm catching it.
I know, and it's like, I'm not, like, I'm learning, like, those guys are, you gotta be good for yourself. That's why I'm just like, not even worried about trying to stick up for somebody else. I mean, like I said, if I knew something, if I missed something, I'd have to call you.
If what's happened is what you told me just now what happened, then I don't understand why you won't, explain the entire story, because I would stick up for you if that was true.
Her story
About what was going on, conversations afterwards, and where Mike is at now.
I don't recall the conversations in depth, like I told you, I just know that there was just conversation about going to get the vehicle and us having to call AAA, and I told Sarah to hang up because our vehicle's not on AAA. I don't know what else, what other stuff you're referring to. If I had, if I had something, you just sit there and be like, hey, this is what I'm referring to, when I'm not sitting there trying to just bullshit you.
Given us 3 months, maybe some, but then you ask us about the other choices. You're smart. I'm gonna give you an equal. I appreciate it personally. That, again, you asked all of us to come down. I want to talk. But you keep asking for more information to help get that. Here we go. Here we go. This is simple. Okay, what are you saying? Our responsibility is to listen to you and then share that information as to that premise. But yet, Sarah, as you know, is not offering a buffet or potatoes and beans. She's offering a buffet. But she's getting to, Ted is getting to, is if you know what that buffet is, like you said, I'm not going to testify against you. She said, I'm not going to testify against you. Okay? So what's the buffet? Because I believe inside you really do want to tell me. I believe that. I'm looking at you man to man, eye to eye, smart guy, smart guy. The one thing you were really good at is I don't want you to I know how you move. I know how you think. I know what you do. Now is the time to tell them about that. Because if you don't, and she does, just like your mom said, that's on you. We're here to help you. Believe it or not, that's on you. You took a deep breath. And you exhaled pretty hard because you were that close. Telling the truth. But then you went back into what you know is wrong. It's time. It really is. I mean, you're not a bad person. Bad people may have done bad things around you. Okay? Honestly. But you can't, right? We mentioned this last night. You're listening and telling me, okay, I'm not a bad guy. Ted Keller, Ted Keller, we're not bad people. Not for you. But you've got to get to that place. Even with your mom, you've been taking her for a time, all these years, and she's like, I know there's more. She tells us that. And so, out of respect for you, and let us help in relationship to going and saying, okay, this is what he says. Because she's going to say something. Then Brandon will say something, then Luciana will say something, and all these somethings may not all line up. So I believe you when you have said tonight, and in the past. I believe a lot of what you said. I really do. She's shaking her head. Yeah, that's why you asked her back. Because really inside you, and you're gonna feel 1,000 times better than others. Because you don't have to worry about these things. You know that. You know she's lying to you. She's lying to you.
I believe there's been conversations after the fact, just because of the way Sarah's been acting and stuff. And we know that when this happened, that you were affected. Your mom even told me that you were affected. I need to know that. I need to know what that is. And I told you, you help me find him, I will be on your side 100%. Absolutely 100%. And I don't care what's happened in the past, because we can't change the past. But you can change the future, and you can change right now.
As far as specific places where they would take them, I don't have that.
I need to know what happened.
I mean, what's, you said this part specific places where they would have taken. You don't have that. I agree. But you have.
I mean, it's, you know, like the whole brand rights thing, you know, it's like, you know, like give information, it's like, you still don't, I'm not, because I fucking, you know.
But if you don't share, right? If we don't share with you, we don't share with other people. She's gonna do your work for you. And she's not gonna care one time for you. We don't wanna see that happen. And when we were the last time we mentioned that. Because you can tell we weren't lying. We're not lying to you tonight. Everything else is there.
I got a fire alarm or something.
So, I mean,
Like I told you, I will advocate for you. I will try to help you any way, shape, or form I can. Okay? Like we said, we can't change what's happened. We can stop the pain and stuff that's happening now. And on the flip side, if we do nothing, and they talk, then they're gonna blame it on you. Just tell me what happened.
You turn that up just a little bit.
It is 10:30, Your Honor. Does the court want to take a break in the hour-and-a-half increment as per usual, or keep it?
I don't need to. The parties need to.
Judge, frankly, I have to use the restroom.
Okay.
Take
take a 10-minute recess. We'll come back at 20 minutes to, or